Welcome to Yoga Hour. My name is Brittany, and the word of the day is savor. So the dictionary defines savor as a verb to enjoy or appreciate something completely, especially by dwelling on it. And as a person who has a tendency of dwelling on things, it's much more worth my energy to dwell on something pleasurable than the opposite. So as I've reflected over my past week, I have had so many experiences to savor. One of them being kayaking and biking with my son. Those are activities that I don't know if we'll always be able to do together or if he'll always want to do those things with me, but I definitely savor them when we are able to do them. We went on a trip to see my dad's side of the family this past weekend, and I was able to savor my cousin's housewarming party because he had just bought his first house, which is such a nice thing, and it was very enjoyable. And then as we were wrapping up our trip, I learned that my great aunt, who just last summer was with us at the lake and laughing and funny and her usual spunky self, I learned that she had had 3 strokes in the past couple of months. So I knew that it was very important for me to visit her because I didn't know if I would be able to have that chance again. And so I visited her on my last day of our trip and just completely savored every moment. She is different now, of course. She can't feed herself, she can't walk, and her speech is very different, but she definitely still has the same spirit. She still has the same gratitude, the same twinkle in her eye, and I definitely savored that experience. So I wonder today if in your practice, if you can savor each breath as if it were as vitally important as it actually is. Can you be in that moment with your breath and be grateful for it? Or maybe you can savor just one pose out of the sequence. It might offer you the best balance of strength and stretch, and you'll really savor it in your body. And then could you savor things off your mat today? Can you find other experiences to really take in and enjoy for long periods of time? So with that, please find a comfortable seat and rest your hands on your lap or in front of your heart in prayer position, and gaze softly at the floor in front of you or close your eyes. We're going to do 1 round of the sound Om, which is a neutralizing sound, and you can join in or just listen. Inhale. Lower your hands, open your eyes, and let's meet in downward facing dog. So for your downward facing dog, to set up, make sure your hands are separated slightly wider than shoulder width. Your index finger is pointing straight ahead, and separate your fingertips evenly. And then take your toes at the back of your mat, curl them under to send your hips up for your first down dog. In your first down dog, pedal it out, listen to your body, find out what you need, and continue to breathe. Now come to a still downward facing dog, and inhale, send your right leg up and back for 3-legged dog. As you exhale, step through for a lunge. In your first lunge, your right foot is forward, knee on top of your ankle. Take your right hand, place it inside your right foot. And now see if you can walk your hands forward into a down dog lunge. You want to line up your right hand in front of your right foot as much as possible, and your left hand in front of your left foot way at the back of your mat. If you need to lower your back knee, please feel free to do so. This is your practice. As you're here, make sure you tone your thighs and squeeze them in toward the midline. Send your hips up as if in downward facing dog and round your back. One more inhale. And as you exhale, bring your hands back. Frame your front foot back into down dog. And then inhale, send your left leg up and back for three-legged dog. Exhale, step through for your lunge. Make sure that you're set up correctly. And again, you can lower your back knee, top of foot to the floor if you need more support. There's nothing wrong with needing support. And if your back leg is lifted, keep it straight and strong. Front thigh, you want to try to get it as close to parallel to the floor as possible. Take your left hand, step it inside your left foot, and then walk your hands as forward as much as you can. Stop when it feels like it's too much. And make sure that your hands are in line with your feet and that your abdomen is toned. Press your tailbone down, round your back, and feel that stretch. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands back to center. Frame your front foot and step back again into downward facing dog. From here, roll forward. Keep your abdomen toned. Make sure your hands are wider than or as wide as your shoulders. Press the floor away from you. Here's another opportunity to lower your hands if your core strength might not be there yet. So you can hold plank or do a push-up or two. Just move your body, but do continue to breathe. That is the most important thing. On your next exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly for Locust, hands bound. So interlace your fingers behind your back and bend your elbows so that there's a U shape in between your hands. Now squeeze your shoulders together on your back and point your feet so that your kneecaps lift off the ground. Now if you can, straighten your arms, lift your chest, look forward, and then inhale, lift your arms and your legs straight back. Press down on the floor with your hips and keep your abdomen toned. Lift your chin out of your chest. Millie is joining us today. I'm sure you've noticed. Exhale, lower down. She's very chill on the couch. From here, curl your toes under, plant your palms outside of your chest, and push up into plank position. Here's another opportunity to do some push-ups if you would like to, or lower your knees if you need to. Continue to breathe. Are you savoring these breaths? And then send your hips up and back for another downward facing dog. After your next exhale, step to the middle of your mat and keep your knees bent. Come into a squatting position. Now take your right arm, place it outside your left leg, and place your palms together with your top elbow pointing straight up. Try to use the muscles in your abdomen to tone and twist to the left rather than your arms. Try to sit back on your heels, keep your thighs toned in together, and breathe. And then inhale, come up to standing. We'll do the second side. Bend your knees again. Take your left hand outside of your right thigh. Place your palms together. Point your top elbow up. Twist and tone your abdomen to the right. Enjoy the stretch. Now inhale, come up into mountain pose. Bring your feet together, lift your toes, spread them evenly, and then place them back down on the floor. And you may need to rock forward and backward on your feet a little bit to find center. Once you find center, root down into the ground. Let the earth support you. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, again, interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back with your elbows bent. If it's possible, you can begin to straighten them. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend our knees. So bend your knees, and if you can straighten your arms, go ahead, and then round your back and bring your forehead close to your knees. It doesn't have to be right there. And bend your thighs. Send your arms as much as vertical as you can, and make sure that you tone your abdomen throughout this process. Press down, and then lower your hands and have a seat. What we're gonna do next is probably the goofiest, maybe not the goofiest, but it's a fun, goofy little yoga hour move. It's called cosmic abs. So what you're gonna do, it's obviously a core workout. So we're gonna start leaning onto one hip. So I'm leaning onto my right hip so you can see me. And then I'm gonna lift my feet and my arms off the floor. And the fun thing about cosmic abs is you don't have to do what I tell you to. You just move your body however which way you want to. You're floating through outer space. It's a cosmic adventure. And then roll to your other hip and keep it going. Stir that pot. Savor this moment of movement. Breathe. Maybe switch again. It's so silly, it's so fun, we're playing. And the other side, one more time. Whew. Feel the tone in your abdomen. And stop. Now bring your feet out in front of you, in front of your hips about 2 feet. And bring your hands back behind you about 1.5 feet. Point your thumbs out and your fingers straight behind you. Separate your feet about hip width apart. What we're gonna do is inhale, lift our hips into reverse table. So with an inhale, lift up and try to get your spine parallel to the floor. This means lift your hips, tone your abdomen, and press the floor evenly with your feet and your hands. Now, if you want to take it one step further, bend your right knee and see if you can reach it towards the ceiling. Keep your hips lifted and lower them. Whew, that was good. Second side. Inhale, lift up. You do not have to go for reverse table, leg lifted. You can stay right here. Just make sure your hips are lifted. If you want a challenge, send your left leg up. You can stay here. Or point your foot towards the ceiling and continue to breathe and keep those hips level and lifted. Exhale, lower down. Oh my. All right, now one more ab workout. Lie down on your back. Place your palms underneath your hips and then send your feet up towards the ceiling, toenails above eyes. And pop your toes. I don't know if y'all heard that, but that was really loud. Okay, either flex your feet or point your feet. Take an inhale and an exhale. On your next inhale, lower your legs just above the ground. Exhale, come up, or anyway, just breathe. It's counterintuitive to me because I think exhaling, going down makes more sense, but lately I've heard to inhale to go down, exhale to come up. So whatever feels best in your body, just do that. And savor this time to yourself. You carved out time for yourself today to do this practice, which is amazing. Okay, bend your knees, come up to a seat, take a water break. And then come to standing in the middle of your mat for Crescent Wrists. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Grab onto your left wrist with your right hand and lift up one more place. And then as you exhale, side bend to the right. I'm not sure if you see a mirror image of me or not, but your right is gonna be, could be opposite from mine. I'm not sure what it looks like on camera. Inhale, back to center, and switch your wrists. So take your right wrist, inhale up, and as you exhale, bend to the opposite side. I'm bending to my left side. Press down evenly in your feet, tone your thighs, press your tailbone down, and keep your abdomen toned. And then inhale, return to center. Exhale, mountain pose. Now turn to face the short edge of your mat. Take your right foot, place it at the top of your mat, and send your left heel back for a lunge position. Anytime we're in a lunge, you can always lower your back knee. So we're gonna go into a lunge. Excuse me, I am losing my place. Okay, so turn your back heel down so that it's parallel to the short edge of your mat, and line up your back heel with your front arch, not your front arm. Now take your arms and interlace them behind your back and fold forward inside your front leg and send your arms vertical towards the ceiling. Press down evenly in your feet, tone your abdomen, and move your right knee out to the side a little bit to give yourself some space to fold inside. One more inhale here. Exhale. Step back into something between a down dog and a lunge. Down dog and plank. Let's do down dog. Maybe stretch it out a little bit here. And then inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Step through. I'm gonna go on this side so you can see me. So we're in a lunge position, and take your back heel, spin it down, line up your front heel with your back arch, interlace your fingers behind your back, fold inside your torso, and stretch up toward the ceiling. See if you can get your left thigh parallel to the ground. If it's not, you might need to move your foot forward or back a little bit. And breathe. And then lower your hands. Come back to center and come into a wide stance. So when you stand up and you hold your arms out, you want your wrists above your ankles. Now hinge at your hips and fold forward and place your hands either on the floor, keep them on your hips. You can place them on the floor between your feet if that's accessible for you, and then allow your head to drop. And if your head comes close to the floor, you can lean forward a little bit, press down on the floor with your hands, and down and back with your feet, and just allow the top of your head to rest on the floor. Don't bear any weight on it. And just breathe here. And then with an inhale, walk your hands forward and come over to your belly on your mat, like this. We're gonna go into topsy-turvy, opposite arm, opposite leg. So extend your hands, your arms out in front of you, and press your ankles together, and then tone your thighs to lift your kneecaps. Now, lift your right arm and your left leg and send them in opposite directions while you press down on the floor with your left hand and your right foot. Look forward, lift your chest, chin away from your chest, and exhale, lower down. Send your left arm and right leg up in opposite directions. Stretch them out. Press down on the floor with your right hand and left foot. And exhale, lower down. Now we're gonna do both hands and feet at the same time for superhero. Again, make sure your ankles are touching, and you can have your arms shoulder width apart, or you can place your palms together if you need more of a challenge. I'm gonna place mine shoulder width apart. So look forward, and with an inhale, lift your arms and legs. So just your hips on the floor again. Tone abdomen, tone your glutes, engage your thighs, squeeze them in together, and exhale, lower down. Frame your hands in front of your chest, curl your toes under, and either keep your knees on the floor or push all the way up for plank pose. Another opportunity to do more push-ups if you savor those. If not, just hold it and breathe and savor your breath instead. All right, now with an inhale, send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. We are warming up. Inhale, send your right leg up and back. Exhale, step through for a lunge. Spin your back heel down, and then cartwheel your arms up for warrior two. In warrior two, look at your right or your front foot. Is it directly underneath your knee? Because that's what we're going for. If it's not, adjust your foot so that it is. You want your back foot pressing down as evenly as your front foot. Keep that back leg toned and strong, front thigh parallel. Tone your abdomen, press your tailbone down, lift your chest and extend your arms apart and look over your front fingers. Exhale, return to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, step through for a lunge. Again, I'm going to change sides so you can see me. Spin your back heel down, line up your front heel with your back arch, and then cartwheel your hands up and look at your front knee. You want to turn it out just a little bit wider so that it's more in line with your pinky toe. That'll keep your thigh toned and strong. Keep your back thigh toned and strong. Engage your glutes and extend your arms apart. For warrior two, breathe. Now, straighten your front leg, turn your feet in, and heel toe your feet together. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but if you have a block, grab it. And you may or may not need it for this next pose, but we're gonna do triangle. So first, if you have your block, come into a wide stance. Again, you may not need a block. Turn your heels out so that they are the widest part of your pose. And then turn your right toes out so that they face the short edge of your mat. This time, we're gonna keep our front leg straight instead of bending it, but keep a micro bend in your knee to protect it. Place the block in your right hand, and you can choose the biggest setting, the medium setting, or the smallest setting. I'm gonna choose medium, and I'm gonna send my left hip back so that I can hinge forward and place my block or my hand on the earth. You can use your fingertips if you can't reach the earth, or you can just hold your hands on your hips and press down into your feet. Extend your left arm up if it's available to you, and breathe into your side body. You can look down, out, or up in this pose. Try to keep a slight tone in your abdomen. And then inhale, turn your right foot forward again, place the block in your left hand, turn your left toes out 90 degrees so that they face the short edge of your mat, and then send your hips back and place the block on the floor outside your front leg. Keep a micro bend in your front leg so that you don't hyperextend. You can keep your hand on your hips or lift your right hand up above your shoulders so that your shoulders are stacked. Try to keep your head and your hips in one line if you can. And breathe. You might savor this pose. It's a nice stretch. and then lift up. You can place your block down on the side. Actually, we're gonna do half moon, so hold on to your block if you have it. If you don't have it, you might not wanna do this pose. It's up to you. We've done it before without a block. So stand at the back of your mat, facing the front of your mat, and take your right knee and step it to the middle of your mat. Bend your knee slightly. With your block in your right hand, you can place it on the floor, just about a handprint in front of your foot, because when we're gonna lean forward and you want your shoulder above your wrist. So you can just do this, or lift your back leg and fall out if you need to. Once your back leg is lifted, point it, make sure it's straight and strong. And then once you have that, work on opening your hips. I'm gonna fall out a few times. Ooh, see, we all do it. All right, try to open your hips to stack them. If you can do that, maybe stack your shoulders as well. Extend your back foot back and exhale, come out. Step back to the back of your mat. I'm gonna come on this side. For the left side, take your left foot, step it to the middle of your mat, bend your knee slightly, hold the block. This is my right foot, wow. Left foot, bend your knee slightly, and place your block or your hand on the earth, about a handprint in front of your left foot. Stay here, or lean forward and lift your back leg straight and strong. Point your toes, elongate your legs. Then work on opening up your hips so that they are more stacked. And it may help to move your block over to the left side a little bit for this. Once you have that, if you'd like to stack your shoulders as well, you can do so. Yay, balancing poses. Exhale, come to the back of your mat. Now you can put your block down. This time, we're gonna do power pose stage 2. So just bend your knees and inhale, lift your arms above your head and try to sit back on your heels. See how much you can bend your knees, but keep your back straight. Tone your abdomen so that your belly's not hanging forward, and reach up and send your hands back. Lift your chest, chin, back of skull, and exhale, dive down for forward fold. In forward fold, bend your knees so that your ribs and thighs touch, and press the floor away from you. Press the floor away from you with your hands and your feet. Take a nice inhale. Let your head hang heavy. And on your inhale, take your arms and extend all the way up to the ceiling or the sky if you're practicing outside. Now, for our next pose, it's another balancing pose. So, but it's not too bad. Take your right leg, cross it over your left, and bend your knees and place your hands on your right shin or calf. And just hang out here. And you get a nice stretch over here. And breathe. You're really just working on balance. Also, keep your foot that's resting on your knee flexed. That will protect your bent knee, your top knee. Exhale, come down, and then bend your knees again. Lift your left leg, place your left ankle on your right thigh, sit down into the pose a little bit, and then rest your hands on your calf. Wobble a little bit, sway, whatever you need to. Just breathe, enjoy your practice. All right, come out and step to the back of your mat again. This time we're gonna go into Warrior 3, which is another balancing pose. So let's get get to it. Bend your knee slightly, step your right foot forward and bend it, and then send your arms out in front of you, parallel to the floor. Now lean forward and hinge at your hips. You can stay here if you're not ready to balance. Another option for balance is you can always hold onto a wall. So if it works better for you to practice next to a wall, do that. If you're here and you want to go further, lean forward even more to lift your back leg. You want to keep your hips level, so try not to lift. We're not stacking our hips in this pose. So try not to lift that left hip, excuse me, too much. Extend your arms out in front of you. Press your feet down, your foot down. And exhale, come to the back of your mat. Step your left foot to the middle of your mat. Bend your knee slightly. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Point your palms in. And then lean forward. Maybe stay here. If you want to go further, lean forward more to lift your back leg. Point your back leg. Make sure it's toned. Try to level your hips and keep your abdomen toned. And then maybe straighten your standing leg. Tone your thigh. Tighten your kneecap. And come back to the back of your mat. From here, come onto your knees. Place your hands at the front of your mat, shoulder width apart or wider. Point your index fingers straight ahead. Separate your fingers evenly and grip the floor with your fingertips. Curl your toes under, and we're going back into down facing dog. Take a nice inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, send your right leg up and back. Exhale, step through for a lunge. Again, take your right hand inside your right foot. Make sure that your right foot is underneath your right knee, where your shin is vertical. So inside, you can stay here. You can also lower your back knee again, or you can go further and place your forearms on the floor. If that's too much for you, but you still want to go a little bit, you can always place your block here and place your forearms inside like this. The block helps to bring the earth closer to you, makes it more accessible. Breathe. And on your next exhale, frame your front foot again, step back into a three-legged dog, and then back into down dog. Inhale, send your left leg up and back. Exhale, step through for a lunge. Make sure you're in alignment. Front thigh parallel, back knee can be lifted or lowered. And then take your left hand, place it inside your left foot. And if you would like to stay here, you may. If you'd like to get your block and place your forearms on your block, you may. Or if you want to just put your forearms on the floor, do what feels good to you. And as my teacher has told me for years, one side might be different than the other, and that is okay. Now, frame your front foot again. Step back into three-legged dog and back into down dog. From here, again, inhale, lift your right leg up and back. And this time, as you send your knee through, keep it bent and place your right knee behind your right wrist. Walk your left foot back and see how that feels. This is called pigeon quad stretch. Keep your right foot flexed, flare your toes. This protects your right knee. And then move your left foot in just a little bit so it's not way out over here. Move it in just a little bit. And sit up and breathe. I think Millie is savoring her couch time right now. She's not often on the couch. It's super cute. All right, let's get back to it. So, hands down on the floor, curl your back toes under, and then step back into downward facing dog again. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, bend your knee and place your knee behind your left wrist. Carefully walk back your right foot and point your toes. With your left foot, flex your feet, flare your toes. So you're gonna look like this. It's gonna be in front of your right hip, feet are flexed, toes are flared, and just lift up. Point your back foot and move it in just a little bit behind your hips. All right, now to come out, you can go back into downward facing dog and then lower your knees. Come on to your bellies one more time. Maybe not one more time, probably a few more times. I'm savoring this belly time. All right, bend your knees. Keep your thighs hip width apart. Flex your feet or point your toes, but do something intentional with your feet. And now take your hands and hold your ankles. Now from here, we're going to lift up and just balance on our hips. So look forward, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulders together on your back, and with your next inhale, lift your legs off the floor and do it with the strength of your thighs rather than with your arms. And just allow your arms to hold your feet up while you use your thigh muscles to lift up. Try to tone your thighs in towards each other. Exhale, lower down. And come back into another down dog. Your feet can be hip width apart or they can be together. It's your choice. Whatever feels best for your low back. Move around and breathe and see what feels best. And then lower your knees. Come on to your bottoms. Place your feet in front of your hips at the front of your mat together. And place your hands about a foot behind you. Thumbs pointing out to the side and fingertips more behind you. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back. With your inhale, lift your hips and move your feet forward to straighten your legs. Lift your hips, tone your thighs, engage your glutes, lift your tailbone, and exhale, lower down. Now place your hands outside of your hips and flex your feet so that your toes point up at the ceiling. Bring your legs together, curve your low back in, lift your chest, tone your abdomen for staff pose. From staff pose, curve, bend, round, there we go. Round your low back, your whole back, and grab onto whatever you can, whether that's your thighs, your shins, your toes, or your feet. Whatever gives you the best stretch that feels best for you in your body, do that. Round your back and lower your head. Continue to breathe. One more inhale here. And exhale. Lie down on your back again. Place your feet this time in front of your hips. And so your feet are hip width apart. And then grab the outer edges of your mat and one at a time walk your shoulders underneath your back. Place the back of your skull on the floor, not the base of your skull, so that you're looking straight up at the ceiling. On an inhale, lift your hips for bridge pose. This is where it's really important to keep your chin out of your chest and keep your hips lifted. So you might want to look back at the wall behind you to help with that. Exhale, lower down. And from here, take your right ankle and rest it on your left thigh. And carefully lower your legs to the right side. Extend your arms out beside you and look to the left. You can also rest your right ankle on the floor if placing it on your left thigh is too much. On your next exhale, return to center. Place your left ankle on your right thigh and lean those legs over to the left as you look to the right. Breathe. And inhale, return to center. Lift your legs over your eyes and bend your knees so that your thighs come closer to your chest. Grab onto your feet, whether that's, if you're going to grab onto your big toe, wrap your first two fingers and thumb around your big toe, or you can hold on to the outer edges of your feet. And send your feet back behind you and straighten your legs as much as comfortable for you. Breathe here. Enjoy or savor the stretch in the backs of your legs and in your back. Now release your hands from your feet and fold your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice hug. This is Recline Child's Pose, and this will be the last pose that we take before Shavasana. So if there's anything else that your body needs at this time, listen to it and take that pose, or go straight into Shavasana. Once you feel complete in your Reclined Child's Pose, extend your legs out in front of you, place your arms out to the side, and rest, receive, savor the benefits of your practice. You can gently close your eyes, and I'm going to let you stop here. Enjoy yourself, savor your day, savor the moments. Thank you for practicing.